Keep it rap food, keep it rap food. Keep it rap food, keep it rap food.
Steady hands, cut clean, steady grind, bills dreams.
Keep it rap food, keep it rap food.
7 days a week, let the hustle speak.
All right. Good morning, everyone. This is Ruben Escalona with Red Alpha Studios / Red Alpha Custom Prints with another episode of the Red Alpha Mugshot Monday podcast. How's everybody doing today? Hopefully, you're doing good. As you may notice, that I'm riding solo today. My partner in crime, Baby Doll, is she's playing the producer role. She's here. She's not able to sit beside me because she's having a little discomfort in her lower back, and so I gave her the morning off. But she's still here with me, so you might hear her getting up or answering a question or something like that. So she's here. Um, but I'm going to be the main one talking today, which is mostly that's how it is anyway. But uh, yeah, I mean, we're off from a great weekend, and we have an exciting show for you guys. So we hope that you have your coffee ready. And like I always say, it cannot be a Mugshot Monday podcast if we don't talk about our coffee mugs. So today, um, man, I'm riding fresh off of the heels of being able to see my grandson this weekend, and so I had to grab the El Mejor Abuelo coffee mug that I was given. And what can I say? You know, it's not self-proclaimed. This was a gift, and so if the coffee mug says it, I guess that means it's true, right? And so I want to embrace that. And man, every time that we come back from a weekend trip, it doesn't matter if it's visiting our kids and grandson in Austin or if it's in Lubbock, uh, visiting our kids and grandson in Lubbock. I always come back with the sense of, man, how can I just be a full time abuelo or grandpa? That is my motivation. It's like, man, I got to figure out how to do this, to where it's like I can be with them, and man, I wouldn't mind both my grandsons right here being part of the show. That would be a dream come true for me, and so I'm still in grandpa mode right now. Even though you may see me with the rat food gear, I always got to represent. In the back, I got the Kill It Daily graphic on the wall. And up in the corner, you can probably see our Mugshot Monday. So we're fully branded as we always are, but I am still in grandpa mode, right? And so some of you I know are in grandpa mode because I was sending a text, to several of my friends that own businesses to try to line them up, on our podcast for the Behind the X's and O's. And so I know at least one of them were saying, I'm spending time with the grandkids. I'll get back with you on Monday, which I totally understand, right? And I'm just one of those people who is always on it. I'm always planning the next thing and scheduling this and doing that and producing this. And so that's just part of my deal. But speaking of grandpa mode, how many of you guys have a coffee mug like this? And then how many of you guys are actually sipping from a coffee mug like this morning? Send it in the chats. If you're watching live, it doesn't matter if you're connected with us on our Facebook page or on our YouTube page, or if you're part of the live audience on the Riverside app. Send us a message and let us know. Send us a picture and let us know what coffee mug you're sipping out of. And man, bonus points if you're sipping out of best grandpa or mejor abuelo, whatever it is that your grandkids call you, huito, whatever the word is. And then also let us know what do you go by. I've heard of abuelo, abuelito. There's grandma. There's what is that? Nona. Nona. There's a bunch of different ones. Gramps. I got a hat that says Gramps, which is no one calls me Gramps, but it was the only hat that the Dad Gang had available, so I went ahead and grabbed that one. And but yeah, what coffee mug are you sipping from today? We would like to know. Definitely would like to know. And uh, and then also what kind of coffee you're drinking. This is the coffee. I'm drinking it black, but it's called Black Silk by Folgers. Man, it definitely gets the job done. Put about 3 scoops in there with 10 cups of water, and I am good for my three to 6 cups of coffee that I drink every day. I really don't know because I really don't know because uh, I never let it get to the bottom. So once it's about halfway, I fill it back up, and so I think I probably average about 3 cups of coffee, normal cups like this. If I'm drinking out of bigger, I'd probably like two, but it's hard to say. 3 to 4 cups of coffee every day, and I try to. So here's the coffee, but then I also keep a bottle of water next to me. It doesn't matter if I'm working, it doesn't matter if I'm asleep. I always have a bottle of water next to me because I learned a long time ago that it's important to hydrate. So that's it on the coffee mug presentation, and I'm excited about that. I wanted to lay down the kind of I guess the theme of the show, if I can, but it all revolves around change. Uh, I've been thinking a lot about change lately, and you know, how do you look at change? I know some people are just resistant to change. I know sometimes change can be uncomfortable. Sometimes it can be exciting. Sometimes it can be, just like, intimidating because no matter how you look at change, it requires you to be a different version of yourself than when you are today. It seems like, especially whenever you're striving to become better. When you're striving to become better, the change that's required from you is going to take you into places that where you're going to have to dig deep, and you're going to have to figure out who you are now, and you have to decide who you want to be going further, right? So I'll give you an example. One of the things that the change that I'm dealing with in my life is the ongoing, you know, I guess, situation to where it's like I want to transition our company to where my wife and I aren't so hands-on. Right now, we're owner operators, and so we're probably answering the phones. We're replying to text messages and emails, sending the invoices, and him in the banners, and installing the wraps and printing the wrap. We're doing basically every process, that it requires on a print shop. And so the transition that I'm trying to make is find ways to where I can replace myself either through an automated system or through another human, right? So that way I don't have to be the one that does everything. And that has been a challenge. I figured that the best way to start is to look at areas that I can automate, right? Where can we unify our communications? Where can we create workflows within the back office stuff, and to where we're not answering every call, or we're not replying to every message that comes in on our social media pages and things like that. But where are some ways that I can create more automation for our business to free us up to do other things, right? And so that has taken me on a journey to learn new things, about automation and workflows and processes and all of that. We've been working on our standard operating procedures for a while, and I think we got them. We don't got them complete, but I think we got a good idea of how to run everything and how to connect everything, and we have some good software programs that we use on a daily basis to help us, manage the business. And now what I'm trying to do is figure out a way to get the software applications to talk to each other, to communicate, so that way I'm not sitting there, talking to this person and putting the data, and my wife is doing it over here, and then it's like duplicate data entry, and then we're just actually spending more time than if we wrote it down on paper. And so that is the change that both of us, I mean, me and my wife, are trying to navigate through. It's uncomfortable. It gets frustrating sometimes because the knowledge is out there, and so it's just observing. It's learning something new, and trying to figure out how you can implement that into your day to day, and then go from there. And then also figuring out a way to where I can not only do that for our primary business, Red Alpha Custom Prints, but all of the other things that we have that we're working on. For example, the Red Alpha Studios is definitely something that I work on to try to see how we can streamline that process, and automate as much as possible. Because if you guys aren't familiar, let me take a drink of water. So if you guys don't are tuning in for the first time, my wife and I own a company called Red Alpha Custom Prints. Red Alpha Custom Prints, we've been in business for about 16 years, going on 16 years, and we provide services from business cards to window wraps, and almost everything in between. We do banners, signs, trailer wraps, vehicle wraps. We do business cards. We do brochures. We do a lot of different printed type services, and we're even expanding the services to a format that I call Red Alpha Business Solutions, which I'll talk about. I'll probably touch on it here during the show, but definitely you'll start seeing more posts describing that, because we're taking on we're looking at evolving and expanding our business within the Red Alpha Custom Prints, solutions that we're offering. And so that the Red Alpha Studios needs automation. And then all to help me with the blog post, we have a daily blog post that goes out. We have 3 shows that are a part of the Red Alpha Studios. This is one of them. That's Mugshot Monday on Mondays. Then we have what I'm calling the Morning Red, which is our every single day at 8 a.m. we have our blog post that goes out, and right now it is a Behind the X's and O's blog post, and so that's going to transition from Behind the X's and O's to something else. So the Morning Red is going to be a morning blog post that you can count on reading, and it's red red, not we're not messing up with our grammar. It's more about branding on that one. But the Morning Red is going to be a daily blog post, and today you can read our most current blog post, which is a series of the Behind the X's and O's that covers strengths, character strengths that are sometimes hard to manage, right? And today, the blog post was about the loyalist, and so the title is the loyalist, and it says when commitment becomes resistant to change, and that's the reason why I um, I started off with change, because sometimes you got people that have been with you for a long time, and it could be your spouse, it could be a close friend or a relative or an employee that you've had with you for a long time, and sometimes the conversation, whenever it's time to change, it's like, well, this is the way that we've always done it, and so that conversation comes up. But whenever change is necessary, at some point you have to come to an agreement and say, hey, yes, I know that that's the way that we always done it, but this is the way that we have to start doing it, and so you start the change process. But sometimes, you know, you become too loyal, not just to the people that are that are working with you, but to the processes that you use to manage your day-to-day business and life. Right. So this is the way that I've always done it. So I'm not going to do it any differently. I wake up in the morning, and I start brewing the coffee. I'll take a shower, do whatever I got to do, and then it's like you get into a routine, and then whenever the opportunity or the necessity to change is presented to you, you want to fall back to, well, this is how we've always done it. This is how I've always done it. And like I said, in order to change, sometimes it's going to require you to get uncomfortable, because the change is actually going to be a benefit to you. And so read that blog post. Let me know what you think about. It is posted on our Red Alpha website at www.redacp.com, and that comes out every morning, Monday through Friday at 8 a.m. And so that's the Mugshot Monday. That's the Morning Red. Then on Wednesdays, we have our live stream show, which is Behind the X's and O's live stream. Now, on the live stream, that's where you guys, have probably come to see that we have guests, which are friends of mine that either own businesses or that are in a position to where they manage an organization. Maybe they're doing work out in the community, and what we do is we have just conversations about the behind the scenes things that maybe don't get put on social media, because most of us, whenever we're doing our social media marketing, we're trying to put our best foot out there. We're trying to put out the highlights, and we rarely share what actually goes on behind the scenes. Nobody knows the times that you have to reprint, the times that shipments don't make it, and now you got to figure out how to update the client because maybe they had a deadline. Your printers go down or equipment goes down. That kind of conversation really doesn't get out there to social media. And so, those are the conversations that we have on Wednesday, in Behind the X's and O's. And man, it is easy to get guests because we all have that those conversations, and it's just fun talking about it. It's almost like people are giving their testimony because whenever you're running a business, you're trying to build a business, you're pouring yourself into it, right? Like you're pouring everything that you got inside of you. Sometimes it's described as blood, sweat, and tears, that kind of deal, and it's true. I mean, it's like you're pouring yourself into something, with the hopes that all of the effort that you're putting into it is going to, pay off one day, right? And so the conversations that we have are are amazing, and I'm glad that we have a platform to where we can have it and archive it, because these conversations, I think that if you take the time to listen to some of these conversations, you'll come out of it learning something or inspired in some way. I know that there's a nugget or two in every single conversation that we host, and so I'm excited every Wednesday just to have that. And this Wednesday is no different. We have an awesome guest that's coming in this Wednesday. It's Mr. and Mrs. Bueno from Kingdom Cuts and 5811 Salon. They are going to grace us with their presence this Wednesday, and we're going to talk about faith, business, and whatever else comes to mind. I'm excited about that conversation. And then on Friday we have the return of Showmates, which that's something that I've always been passionate about. You know that my wife and I, we love watching movies, and we love watching shows, and so right now the current thing that I'm doing on the Showmates is the Road to Doomsday. And so Marvel put out and Disney put out a list of movies and shows that they consider essential viewing. So that way, if you want to be up to speed when the movie Doomsday comes out in December, it's like a 15 movie project, right? So it's actually 14 movies and then one show, because Loki is a big part of the Road to Doomsday. And so, fortunately, I've already seen all these movies. But tell me which one of these movies you've seen and which one you still need to see, because it's on the list. If you've already got your tickets for Avengers Doomsday, these are the shows that Marvel and Disney are recommending or suggesting for us to watch, and they're considering it essential viewing. Right. Number one is X Men. That's the one in 2000. There's X Men 2 and X Men United, Captain America, uh, the Avengers, Avengers Infinity War, Endgame, Avengers Endgame, Loki season 1 and 2, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, Spider-Man No Way Home. We watched that one last night. So that is checked off the list. And that's actually, I'm going to be talking about that show on Friday because that's our first show. And so Spider Man No Way Home, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, um, Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, Deadpool and Wolverine, Captain America, Brave New World, the Thunderbolts, and then the Fantastic Four First Steps, right? So I might throw in a couple in there because it's like, just because. So I want to do extra stuff. I might watch some of the older Spider-Mans and maybe even the older Fantastic Fours, because I have a feeling that they're going to bring in, characters that were, part of the teams in the older versions, and so I just want to be up to speed on that. These are good, and I've already seen all of these movies and the show, but I'm going to rewatch them again once a week and talk about it on Fridays. So this Friday, make sure that you tune in at 6 o'clock for the return of the showmates. And we're going to be talking about Spider-Man No Way Home. And so that's what we have going on this week. And man, it's an exciting week. Red Alpha Studios is underway, and so we really got some good stuff going. Regular programming that you guys can tune into on Saturdays. In fact, we send out a weekly guide, so that way you guys can kind of be up to speed what we got going on the next week. And but let's get into this one. Let's finish out this one. Um, this weekend, like I said, we went out to Austin. We met our kids on Saturday, had some Outback Steakhouse, for dinner, and we just had a good time. We spent time with all of them there for dinner, and then afterwards we went back to my son's and just kind of it was already late, so we just kind of like just kicked back for a little bit, and then we had to come back Sunday to kind of just make sure that we got some things still moving, right. So it was a short trip, and it was one of those things to where originally it started out, we wanted to be there on Friday, and we wanted to maximize our time, but the orders that we had, we just couldn't get away. So it's like, how about we make it a day trip? We just do Friday, and then we'll stay for Saturday and Sunday. And then when Friday we couldn't get away, Friday it was like, well, let's just do it on Saturday, and then we'll just make it a day on Saturday and come back on Sunday. Which my thought process there was, it's better for a short period of time than not at all, right? I don't know, over a year ago, my wife and I, we made a commitment that we're going to take 2 weekends off a month, and one weekend we're going to be in Austin, and one weekend we're going to be in Lubbock to spend time with our kids and our grandsons, and so we've stayed up on that for the most part. There's a couple of months that we couldn't make it, but for the most part we're there once a month, and even that is like, man, it's not enough, but something is better than nothing, and so we go and we spend as much time as we can, and we start scheduling out the next month and all that stuff, and that's one of the behind the scenes stuff that you will rarely hear us talk about in our social media marketing. Whenever we're posting, the jobs that we're working on, whether it be a trailer wrap or some window wraps, or we're doing banners or whatever the case may be, we rarely talk about how the reason why we're doing all this stuff so that we can free ourselves, so that we can spend time with our kids and our grandsons. We've been empty nesters for a long time, and so now our focus and our motivation is to do the work that we have to do, and then so that way we can have free time to be able to spend the time with the ones that we love, right? And so that's the whole goal and motivation, right? And so that was pretty much the weekend. I mean, we came back on Sunday, and I had planned to do some printing and all that stuff, but man, you know, it was one of those deals. Let me just recharge the batteries, And then we ended up watching Spider-Man: No Way Home, which even though I enjoy that, but it's homework for the showmates show, right? I want to make sure that I show up to the show, with with my memory refreshed, so that way I'm not like trying to pull from the archives of when I saw it the first time, right? But yeah, that was pretty much our weekend. It was on Friday, but then Saturday we went to Austin, and then we came back and just pretty much relaxed as much as we could on Sunday, and that's pretty much what we did. And so now we're looking forward to we got our schedule lined up. We got some things that we got to get on the ball for this week, and so I'm looking forward to it. But what did you guys have over the weekend? Did you watch any movies, any shows, anything new? My kids are telling me that the movie The Odyssey is one to watch, and I've seen people on social media, suggesting that. So that's going to be on our watch list to watch the Odyssey, and definitely, when we watch it, we're going to talk about it, right? But man, we're already looking to get the our tickets for Doomsday. I'm hearing that they're like selling out. And so I don't know if that's just over there in Austin or whatever, but we're gonna look to get our tickets here soon, so that way we can lock that in. And one of the good things is that we can pick anytime. We don't have 9 to 5 jobs, so we'll probably watch it during the day and let everybody else that has 9 to 5s fight for the tickets that are after 5. Right? We're probably gonna watch it in the middle of the day, and then best believe I'm going to be posting that, uh, just to kind of tease you in a little bit. That's one of the perks of that's one of the perks of having your own business. You get to watch a movie whenever you want to. But when you go watch that movie, then you got all of these inquiries you got to follow up with, and current orders that you got to do. So it feels like freedom, but then it feels like I still got to go back and work late because of that. So everything I've heard, this one preacher said that everything is captivity, right? It doesn't matter what you do, you're captive to the thing that you set your sights to, right? So we're just trying to be, I guess, to build a captivity that we can live with, right? I want to feel free at least, and with my time and with my money. I want to be financially free and free of time to be able to do whatever I want. That's the whole goal. And uh, and so the uh, the road to doomsday is going to be the theme on our show, and then on our showmate show, and then the blog post is going to be coming. I may start talking, like, if there's a Wednesday where I don't have a guest, I'm going to take topics from the blog post and talk about those. We've been talking about personality types, and so I think that that's a good one to come down and just you know, talk about the fixer. That was Friday's post, and the fixer is the person that it's like you give that to the person, and it's like, I'll take care of it, right? And so what that usually does is it creates dependency on that person, because he's always the one, or she's always the one to fix it. And so as business owners, it's nice to have a fixer, or even in life, right? It's always good to have a fixer in your life, but sometimes the fixer don't want to fix everything. They just fix it because it's like if they don't do it, their life is, or their process is affected. And so go back and read on Friday. Read our blog post about the fixer, and let me know what you think. And then read today's about the loyalist, and let me know what you think. Send us a comment right there on the post, or even in the chat, or even on the live stream somewhere. Send us a post so that way you guys can kind of let me know what you think about that. But yeah, those is definitely content that I can use to talk about on our Wednesday shows. And other than that, we started a new I guess, kind of collaboration with a company called Premier Luxury Limo, and I was excited to see that they had a couple bookings this past weekend, and we had some video, taken, and so we're getting the social media content going out. We got our first sponsor that's coming on board on the limo. It's private reserve detailing. Going on this week. I'm going to go out there and install that graphic on the limo, and then and so we're going to be looking for more sponsors. So if that's something that you guys are looking to do, message the page or go to the website at premierluxurylimo.com and let them know that you too would like to inquire about sponsorships, and someone will get in touch with you. But yeah, Premier Luxury Limo is a collaboration that I'm working on with Bonifacio over there at Premier Auto Customs, and we've been working on that for several weeks now. And last week you probably saw where I installed the rear graphic for Premier Luxury Limo. And then this week we're going to put on some sponsors, which we are also a sponsor of the Premier Luxury Limo, Red Alpha Custom Prints, and so look forward to seeing that. I'm also going to be helping them with some social media stuff and some promotional videos, that kind of deal. So that is part of the transition that we're looking to make. We're looking to expand the services that we already offer into solutions that just make sense, right? For the longest time, I was sharing people's videos and their posts on social media, and often people will ask me, what do you think about this, and what do you think about that, and so it kind of led me to look at the services that we offer and see how we can incorporate those into our normal business offerings. So in addition to the print products that you're used to us offering over Red Alpha Custom Prints, the print part of it is going to be around. We're not going to stop offering those services, but we're going to start offering services like social media management, AI agents to help you with your run your business, and a CRM solution. We're gonna work on building that, and the Premier Luxury Limo is our first customer that we're using, and it's going to be we're going to use that as the proof of concept. And so all of the that's the way that I do things. I do things by doing them. And I don't talk about them. I just start doing them, and then I talk about them, and then as I'm doing them, I'm talking about that. And so, Premier Luxury Limo, they're already booking that was going on before, but they're going on now. Now we have a Facebook page and an Instagram page where people can connect. We have the website established, and so now whenever you go to the website and submit an inquiry, it's coming into our CRM system that we're building out for them, and creating a contact, sending tags and notifications to the right people, and then we're going to continue working on that to automate that fully. If you ask a question on the Facebook page, we got the automatic replies that are going out, and those are integrating back to the CRM and all that stuff. So it's fun stuff. It's not real exciting to share on social media though, right? It's like, what am I going to do? Share a video of me like typing on the computer or entering a code, or something like that, or having a conversation with ChatGPT on how to do it, right? That's not exciting. But what is exciting is when you're seeing the limo pull up to your event, right? You're seeing that limo pull up to the event, and the people having the time of their life, because they went with Premier Luxury Limo, and we showed up and and facilitated the need to show up with some style, right? So the tagline that I came up with is like, for the occasions where showing up is not enough. You know what I'm talking about, right? Showing up sometimes to an event. Let's call it a quinceanera or a wedding, or you know baptism, gender reveal, whatever it is. Sometimes just simply showing up doesn't cut it, right? Sometimes you got to show up in style. And for those moments that where showing up in style matters, there's Premier Luxury Limo, because we want to make sure that you show up in style and not just show up, because nobody remembers the people who showed up. They remember the people who showed up in style. Premier Luxury Limo. Boom. Tagline. Hire me to come up with your stuff because I'm good at it, right? But yeah, so that's something that we're working on. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And so that's something that I'm working on, and that's part of the transition that I'm, when I was talking about change, that's actually the that's what's my headache right now. That's what's stressing me right now. And I say it like that because sometimes it can be, but the transition is necessary, right? We're not going to be, me personally, I'm not going to be able to install, wraps the rest of my life, right? And so I want to be able to still provide the service, whether it's an automated type deal, hire and train a team to do it, so that way I can manage the business from a different spot, right? I can do stuff like this, like these shows. I can create workflows, and I can create, AI agents to run all the back ends of the business. I can do all of that stuff probably, for the rest of my life, as long as I keep my mind right. I think that I can do that for longer. But I think that I'm on a limited time to be able to do the physical type stuff. I'm still strong, and I'm not saying that I can't do it anymore. I got another good, you know 20 years easily as far as being physically able to do it. But do I really want to do it for 20 years? The answer is no, right? We're giving it 5 years, and then my wife and I, we're going to be talking to you from from a beach somewhere. We're going to be working remotely. We're going to be going back and forth, so that way we can manage this business from anywhere in the world, right? And still be able to provide the printed solutions that you're used to. We're going to grow our, the print products that we have, because that technology is always changing. I mean, we're doing a process now that wasn't around, 10 years ago. That's direct to film. Direct to film wasn't around that long ago. And so we're already, we jumped on that right away. So we have a direct to garment printer, and that we're doing our direct to film with that same printer. And we moved away from screen printing just because digital printing is more our style. And right now it's really popular, but there's going to be other processes that are going to come in place, and you can rest assured that Red Alpha is going to consider them, and we're going to offer what our customers need, right? Wide format has been the driving, I guess, the driving force of Red Alpha, with the signs and banners and vehicle wraps and window wraps and all of that stuff, and we're still going to do those. And if we can figure out a way to do it faster and better, we're definitely going to do it. We're looking at processes out there. I'm a student of my craft, and so I'm already looking at different things. And whenever the time is right, when the funds are in the bank, we're going to execute those processes. But as far as the transition goes, I'm looking for ways to be able to manage our business from a higher level. And so that's the change that I'm looking at making in my life, is trying to be a better version of myself, because this transition is going to require me to be better. There's no question about it. It's going to require me to spend hours and hours and hours of time learning new processes, learning new technology, and just figuring it out. And but what I've learned in my brief time on this earth, and in my even briefer time of being in business, is that everything is figure outable. Everything can be figured out, right? And so if you just are intentional about learning something new, don't get too stuck in your ways, right? Because it doesn't do us any good to dwell on the past, whether it was a good past or a good past. It doesn't do us any good. The 15 years that we had have been good. There's been ups and there's been downs, and we're moving into the next thing, right? Red Alpha Studios is the next, evolution of Red Alpha Custom Prints. Because if you guys remember when we started, almost 16 years ago, we started with a plotter, a heat press, and a printer that printed the old school, heat transfers. This was the iron-on stuff, right? It's weird how things circle around, right? And then we slowly went into heat transfer vinyl, the kind that you run through the plotter and you weed it out, and then and then you press it on a shirt. Then we evolved to direct to garment printing, and we still do direct to garment printing. And then we got a screen printing press, and we had a four color screen printing press, and we did that for a little bit, and it just wasn't really a good fit for us. And then we then we continued with the direct to garment and embroidery. Right, our wide format expanded the services, and so we've changed over the years. And even the small format services, the business cards and things like that. The postcards that we're printing. We've been working on trying to offer a service called EDDM, which is every door direct mail, and it's through the post office. But we have a process to where we can start working on that. But it started out with postcards, and now it's the EDDM is one thing that I'd like to grow within our business. But my whole point in saying all that is that we haven't been the same company. Even though you've seen the same face, you've probably seen, the same logo for a long time, which the current logo was redone about 10 years ago. And so my thought on that is maybe in another when we hit year 25, I may redo revise the or revamp the uh, the logo. But we've been changing all of this time, and so this podcasting, even though it's a new process, but it's part of our regular thing. It's like we're becoming something different, and so Red Alpha Custom Prints is here to stay. We're going to continue running that, but it's going to be the print division of the larger company, and then Red Alpha Studios is going to handle a lot of different media, which the social media management will be a part of that, CRM solutions, and AI. I'm calling it the Ready HQ team. It's going to be part of that, but also the shows, the podcast, and the blog posts. Those are also going to be part of Red Alpha Studios, and like I said, the proof of concept is already in the works with Premier Luxury Limo, and then once we get that down, we're going to be hitting you up, to see if it's something that makes sense for you and your business. Um, because we're going to grow that part as well, just the same way that we always do. We're going to show you that we can do it, and then if it makes sense to for us to offer you that service, then we're going to do that as well. So, but man, that is it for today. I think I hit everything, didn't I? Is there anything that I missed? I think we got everything. Um, so be sure to tune in this Wednesday, at 6 o'clock. Uh, we're having our guests, the Buenos with Kingdom Cuts and 5811 Salon. They're going to grace us with their presence, and that's going to be an awesome conversation. I can't wait for that, and so we're looking forward to that at 6 o'clock live stream, on our Facebook page and our YouTube page, and then we'll edit it and we'll put it out on all our social media channels after that. And then on Friday, be sure to tune in at 6 o'clock again for the Return of the Showmate show, where I talk about Spider-Man: No Way Home and the new Road to Doomsday journey that we're all going to go on. So, other than that, I just want to say thank you for your time. We appreciate you for tuning in. Share our posts, like our posts. If you'd like to be a guest, hit me up, and then we'll put you on the schedule. We're already lining people up, in September, and we got half the month already filled, and we've got maybe 2 or 3 Wednesdays available. So make sure that you get on our schedule just as fast as you can, because over the weekend we locked in probably we locked in 2 for sure, and then another 3 to 4 people that are just looking at their schedules. So be sure to get with us quick, and then we'll work it out with there. But other than that, that's been great talking to you guys. We'll see you on the next one.